Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So children, we are discussing chapter number 2 measurement, and we were discussing floating and sinking. So when an object is immersed in a solid liquid, if its density is less than the liquid, it floats in it, and if its density is more than that liquid, it sinks in the liquid. Now what is the principle of flotation? Every liquid exerts an upward force on the objects immersed in it. This upward force is called buoyant force. Now, when any object is immersed in a liquid, the liquid exerts an upward force on the object immersed in it. This upward force, which is exerted by the liquid, is called buoyant force. So when the object is immersed in a liquid, there are two forces acting on that object. Number one is the buoyant force, which is exerted by the liquid in the vertically upward direction, and this force is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by the immersed part of the object. Then second is the weight of the object, which is vertically downward, and this force has a tendency to sink the object. Now, whether the object will float or sink, it depends upon the magnitude of weight and buoyant force. So, sinking and floating of the object will depend upon the magnitude of weight and buoyant force. So, there are some cases. In case number 1, when weight of the object is greater than the buoyant force, it will sink in the liquid. It means the object is more dense, it is heavier than the liquid, so it will sink in the liquid. If its weight is greater than the buoyant force which is exerted by the liquid on the object, then the object will sink. This happens when density of the object is greater than the density of the liquid. Now in case number 2, when the weight of the object is less than the buoyant force, the object will float partially above the surface of the liquid. This happens when the density of the object is less than the density of the liquid. So when the density of the object is less than the density of the liquid, it will partially float above the surface of the liquid. And third case, when the weight of the object is equal to the buoyant force, then what happens? The object will float in the liquid just below the surface of the liquid, and this happens when the density of the object is equal to the density of the liquid. So here we can see the three cases. Case number 1, when weight of the object is greater than the buoyant force, the object density of the object is more than the density of the liquid, the object will sink. Here in case number 2, weight of the object is less than the buoyant force, then the object will partially float above the surface. It is partially above, only a part of that object is above the surface. And when weight of the object and the buoyant force exerted by the liquid is equal, both are equal, then the object will float in the liquid below the surface. It is now below the surface. Here it is partially above the surface, and here it is below the surface. So these are the three cases. When weight of the object is greater than the buoyant force, it will sink. When weight of the object is less than the buoyant force, it will partially float above the surface. And when the weight of the object is equal to the buoyant force, it will float in the liquid just below the surface of the liquid. What is law of flotation? According to law of flotation, when an object floats in a liquid, the weight of the liquid displaced by its immersed part is equal to the total weight of the object. Or we can say that an object will float in a liquid when its weight is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by it or less than the weight of the liquid displaced by it. If its weight is more than the weight of the liquid displaced by it, it will sink. So the object will only float in a liquid when its weight is equal to or less than the weight of the liquid displaced by it. If its weight is more than the weight of the liquid displaced by it, it will not float, it will sink. So this is law of flotation. Here are some applications of principle of flotation. Number one is hydrometer. It is based on the principle of flotation. So this hydrometer floats in a liquid and the lower bulb is made heavy by filling with mercury or lead shots to keep it upright, straight. This is made heavy, lower bulb is made heavy by filling it with mercury or lead shots to keep it upright. And its narrow stem is graduated so that the mark up to which it sinks gives us the value of the relative density of this liquid in which it floats. So some special hydrometers are there to test whether a battery is fully charged or not, and there are some hydrometers which are used to test the purity of milk, and such hydrometers which are used to test the purity of milk are called lactometers. Second is the flotation of a person. A person can easily swim in sea water than in fresh water. What is the reason behind that? The reason is that the density of sea water is greater than that of the fresh water, because in sea water salts are present which make the water dense. So sea water is more dense than the fresh water, so a person can easily swim in it. Now flotation of icebergs. Water icebergs, they are the huge masses of ice floating in sea. As we know, the density of ice is 0.917 gram per cubic centimeter, which is less than 1, and it is less than the density of water. The density of water is 1 gram per cubic centimeter, and the density of ice is less than that of water. So ice floats, even if they are huge masses, they float in sea water. So icebergs float in water with 1/12 of their volume above the surface of water and 11/12 of their volume under the water. So they float with 1/12 of their volume above the surface and 11/12 of their volume under the water. So they are very dangerous for ships because of their non-visibility. Now the next application is flotation of a submarine. A submarine can float like an ordinary ship as well as it can sink when required. This is because it has two large ballast tanks. These tanks are filled with water. When they are filled with water, its density becomes greater than the density of the sea water. It becomes heavier, so it sinks. And whenever it is to rise to the surface, the tank water is pumped out from the tanks, due to which the average density of the submarine becomes less than the density of the sea water, so it rises up. Now next is flotation of a balloon. Suppose a gas like hydrogen or helium, whose density is less than that of air, is filled in a balloon. It rises in air. What happens? The density of the gas that is filled in the balloon is less than that of the air, or the weight of the balloon is less than the weight of the air displaced by that balloon. So it will rise up and it will float in air. The buoyant force on the balloon becomes greater than the weight of the balloon. The force that is exerted by air on the balloon is greater than the weight of that balloon, because the density of the gas which is filled in that balloon is less than that of air. So the balloon is lighter than air, so it rises up and it floats in air. Fastest flotation of a ship. How does a huge ship float in water but a small iron nail sinks? We know that an iron nail sinks in water, but a huge ship which is made of steel and iron, it floats in water. What is the reason behind that? The reason is that the density of iron nail is greater than that of water, so it sinks in water. And a ship is very huge, but it is designed in such a way that it has large empty spaces inside it and it has a large volume. And we know whenever volume increases, density decreases, because density and volume, they are inversely proportional to each other. When density increases, volume decreases. When volume increases, density decreases. So the ship has large volume and large empty space inside it, and this reduces the average density of the ship as compared to the density of water. So it helps the ship to float in water.